Welcome to the This Could Make Us Famous podcast. You've heard all the stories of the rich and famous. But what about everybody else? Some of the greatest and funniest stories come from everyday people. Here, we share their stories and just maybe make them famous. Let's get started. Here is your host, Jason McCormick.
What is going on, people out there in the world?
Thank you for unmuting me.
Yeah, I had to mute Justin because he couldn't keep his mouth shut. No, I'm just kidding. But
I got excited since you're obviously at the gun range.
Yeah, well,
so is that still you over there, Jason? I can't tell with that mask on.
Yeah.
Well, this is my work get up, minus the hairnet. I get a hairnet.
I recognize that bridge of your nose and 5 hairs.
So, anyways, things are good over here. Welcome back to the show, guys. I'm so glad that you're able to join us again. Welcome, Justin, Ocean. It's been a while.
Grazie.
It's been a long while since we hung out, and you've been on the show, but it's been good. So, Justin, I usually do this for all my special guests, so let's not leave you out.
Is he really special though? Because that sounded kind of like an afterthought.
It was. I had to think about it. And the voice you're hearing is
the non-special
Can I
guest.
say your last name? Because they know your last name.
I'm going by Wendy today. I identify as a woman.
It's
Wendy.
Benjamin Howell. Thank you. Welcome to the show, Benjamin. You're filling in for Charlie Sparkles. And you know what, guys? I got to step up my game this time because I got some feedback from Charlie from the last podcast we did. I'm going to take this.
Doesn't
thing.
like this
I'm sick of it.
Sparkles name?
No, he said my performance was
Karen's going to
below par. It was pretty bad. You guys dominated the show, and I sounded like crap. So thank you, Charlie, for your insults. And now that you're not here, I can insult you.
I don't know how I'm going to sit over here and just be contained now. Let me be honest.
You're not going to be
You
contained.
took your mask
I don't know
off.
how I'm going to
Well,
be
this
able
dude
to
likes
be.
to talk.
I talk too much.
You talk a lot, but that's okay. That's what a podcast is about. But you can't overtalk the host. You know what I'm saying?
Okay,
It's kind of
so
weird.
leading off this hour in the news, we have a breaking update on the name Charlie Sprinkles.
Sprinkles.
Now,
I like that.
Charlie
Sprinkles.
Sparkles actually got his name from a cat, believe it or not. There's a cat named Charlie Sprinkles that might have lived with a roommate. That
Right.
might have lived with me. So this cat, hey, cool cats. This cat was one of
Cool cats
those
and kittens.
window sitters,
Uh-huh.
right? This window sitter played chill for like a month and a half. Then one day, somebody opens the door, leaves it open for maybe 10 seconds. Cat's gone for good.
Dadgummit.
And that person was me, but we're going to move on.
What a loser.
I saw this cat 2 more. It was like dead of winter, and I see this cat like 2 more times, right? And I'm surprised each time. And it was like 3 a.m. I'd wander down, with my underwear and like getting something out of the fridge, and then I look out the big front window, and then there's the cat staring at me in the snow. It was weird. So after I saw him for the last time, I just assumed, okay, he's dead. It's winter. Somebody ran over him, or he's something. And I get a text a week ago from the original owner that says Charlie Sprinkles was found in an animal shelter 25 miles away.
Oh, my gosh. Wow.
Well,
What are the
furry cat.
chances of that?
Yeah.
So did the cat go back to the original owner?
Yes. Yeah. And the roommate that the cat, he was watching the cat didn't belong to him, but that roommate just coincidentally happens to live with that person now.
Fate.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That's some weird stuff right there. By the way, Justin's not normally this tall. I got to let everybody know. He's normally taller than this.
Yeah.
So somehow he's shorter.
I'm shorter. I'm sitting on a pillow.
Well, I'm still taller than you. Look at this. What do you guys think? What do the subscribers think? Am I taller? Anyways, Luke. at what you're doing.
Who's Luke?
I don't know. It's Benjamin. I don't know why I always call him that. So Benjamin, what are you doing, man? How's work going? How's the landscaping business?
Not bad, actually. We had a good amount of rain today. A little bit yesterday, I think.
Yeah, we got
Had the
a
weekend
downpour today, man.
Had the
Huge
weekend
thunderstorm.
off and then had today off because it rained. Hopefully it's supposed to rain tomorrow so that we can have some more grass to cut. But
Yeah.
everything's been good with me. I did actually come across this show on Netflix today called The Office.
Oh, you just now hearing about The
Oh,
Office?
I just came across The Office and started binge watching it. Like, that show is so funny. It's ridiculous.
Dude, The Office has been around for a long time.
Oh,
It's funny.
I know it's been around for a long time. I just never got around to
Wasn't
watching
that
it.
a show in Europe? Like that was a British.
There was a British show. It wasn't called The Office. I can't remember the name, but Office was taken off that idea of that British show.
Yeah, and
if I
didn't
remember
what
right.
is his name? That comedian Ricky Gervais or whatever. He's the one that came up with that show,
For
and
Britain.
they took it from United States. Kind of did their own thing. It's funny. Who's your favorite character? Let me
I don't
guess.
know. I'll say this first, though. From the very first episode all the way into the end of season 2, I was busting gut nonstop. It hurt. But my favorite character would probably be the office manager.
Michael.
Yeah, Michael. And then the guy who's always just kind of laid back and he's just like, he sits right across from Michael's office. And he's always entrapping the dude with the glasses, the
Dwight.
weird guy. Yeah.
Dwight Schrute, man.
Dwight.
He is
Dwight's my
he's the
favorite.
funniest.
He's always tripping
He's
that
freaking
guy up,
hilarious,
though.
dude.
I don't watch it, but if I did, Dwight would be my favorite. He's
Oh,
kind
yeah.
of a Sith Lord of the crew.
Yeah, he's pretty.
He is a Sith
And then
Lord.
Jim, he gives him so much trouble all the time, dude. He can't stop.
It's like the stuff that they based that comedy off of. Like, you couldn't do that today. I
No.
was watching it. It's like the misogyny and all of that
Right.
stuff. And it's just like, there's no way you could do that today and get away with it.
No, probably not.
You'd have to live somewhere in the past 6,000 years, just not the last 5.
Yeah.
So speaking of comedy, my life is a huge comedy, as some of you guys know. Dude, the other day, you guys don't know this, the funniest freaking thing ever to happen to somebody. Well, probably not ever, but I was getting ready to go to my new job, and I get up at like 4:30 in the morning, get ready, and I'm out the door around 5-ish, a little after 5, and it's dark out. Okay, I unlock the car. And the lights come on the car, so you can, right in front of the freaking car, dude, no joke, was a skunk directly in front of our car.
Oh, wow.
And its tail was popped up, and the hair was like, so the skunk was suddenly freaked out because of the,
Spray.
the light shining on it suddenly.
Did you run?
Yeah.
Dude, I freaked out, and I was like, oh, beep. And I couldn't help it. It just came out. And then I started walking back towards the front door. I was terrified because the light in the car went back off. And so it's dark. And I'm thinking, oh, my God,
He's out for
Pepe Le
revenge.
Pew is going to come after me and freaking spray me. How am I going to call my
Pepe Le
manager?
Pew?
Like, you're not going to believe this, but I can't come into work today. I was sprayed by a skunk.
You better thank God that those lights came
Huh.
on. Because if not, you might have got sprayed by a skunk.
I would have absolutely been sprayed by a skunk.
It would have been so ridiculous. I heard that stuff is hard to get off you.
It is.
Yes. And it would have been horrible, dude. So this is the funniest thing about it is I have it on video because our doorbell camera. So I'm pretty sure I'll be able to show you guys. So anyways, check out the video right here. So anyways, you guys saw the video. I know it's fun that you can do that because you can edit the video into it and then, yeah. But, yeah, it's hilarious. Story of my life. I mean,
was
can you
pretty
imagine
funny.
that, dude? Like, on your way to work, bright and early in the morning, and a freaking skunk sprays you.
As soon as I'd seen that, I would have took off and ran into a wall probably.
Well, it reminds me of the time when I was living with another friend that we both know, in an apartment, and I backed my car up to the front door, opened the trunk, and I was packing my stuff because I was going somewhere. And I look out of the corner of my eye, dude, like literally right next to me, and there was a snake, a big old freaking snake, and it was like this. I guess the snake had been ran over by a lawnmower because its bottom jaw was ripped open,
Yikes.
so it looked like that creature from Predator.
And it was still alive?
Yeah, the snake was like this, and it was getting ready to strike me, dude. I freaking jumped in the air, did a full 360. I mean, I cleared the ground. I was like, oh my God, dude.
If its bottom jaw was hanging off, it couldn't have struck you with
Lord.
anything.
Well, I mean, in that
decided
split
advantage.
second, huh?
You had the decided advantage.
Oh, dude. Well, in a split second, your mind's not processing.
Yeah.
All you see is this freaking snake. And then
So it was
after I
standing
backed
up
away,
like a cobra does?
like a cobra.
Wow. Around here?
Yeah. I actually have some pictures of it. I'll show you guys.
Yeah,
I
I
have
see that.
I have a photo.
So you
So yeah, that's the photo of the snake, and it was creepy looking, dude.
You,
Imagine that thing attack. I mean, it's really messed up, dude.
you backed up faster than Kyle Rittenhouse.
Oh, dude,
I don't know if you can get quicker than Kyle Rittenhouse.
and that concludes our show. The
Segue.
segue. So yeah, that's and I got that on video too, but
Like
that
they
wasn't
got Kyle
my. It
Rittenhouse
wasn't
on
my
video.
surveillance. Yeah, no, that dude. Wow. Anyways, have you guys ever had anything crazy like that happen to you?
Not that I can recall. I've ran into a couple snakes at this park that we cut, but they're just like, I think they're little gardener snakes.
Yeah.
One of them I killed, the other one I just let go.
I
What
ran
about you?
into a small garden snake when I was walking to the creek as a child and killed it with the butt of my toy rifle.
Dude, you're hardcore, man.
Well, then I went home and cried. And
I'll
then,
say, don't let the beret fool
and then my
you.
guardian angel probably cried because I cried.
I cried after I drowned a mouse. I can't believe I did that, dude. Wait, I caught a mouse on a glue trap. Okay,
You couldn't just kill him once, crush his head. You had to.
I held him under the water, and I can't believe that was the worst thing I've probably ever done in my life. I couldn't sleep for like a couple weeks.
You know
man.
they say serial killers get started.
I was going to say, man, you're
Mouse
on your way,
drownings.
dude. The
No,
making of a killer.
Dude, I can't even kill bugs. I'm telling you. Call me a wuss. I love the crackling.
My bad.
You know, the last podcast, I was doing the same thing. I was going like this.
That's just all doing.
And
Get it over with.
yeah, let's just,
It's like
and then
a
that's all you hear is
ASMR.
like,
No, but I get it because like I'll be driving down the road and you know critters running across the street like squirrels or something, and I'll be like, man, get out of the way. And there's been some times where I'm kind of flying down the road when I shouldn't be, and the squirrel jumps out, so I don't slam on my brakes, but I'm like, oh.
I got friends of mine that literally will try to run into squirrels and any animal.
This is
Like, oh, there's a squirrel, and like try to kill the squirrel. So that's not important though. That none of that is important. But we had to get this show started off with some, fun stuff.
I was just saying, I get it. Like, I don't know how I'd feel after running over an animal, but I wouldn't intentionally try to.
Well,
do
I don't
that.
want to kill something when they're out in their natural habitat.
Yeah.
That's like someone coming into our home and just stepping on us.
Is anywhere?
Oh,
in the
look,
city,
it's a human.
Is anywhere in the city their natural habitat though?
Yeah, we
It
moved
is.
here.
We built.
we
on
built.
their
We
land.
paved the streets, so they didn't have much of
Like
a choice. I guess they're kind of
99
like natives. I guess.
99.9% of the earth is not concrete. They can find somewhere else to go.
Yeah, we're gonna tell a little bug that. Hey,
Nice.
man,
I wonder
you're in the
if
wrong neighborhood.
if you took the squirrels away, I wonder what type of problem would come up from that.
All the squirrels.
Like
We'd
if
have-
you took the squirrels out of
Yeah,
the
like if
equation,
you
There'd
take
be
out
more-
the bees, the world ends in like 5 years.
There
or
would
What type of
be a
problem
lot
would
more
you
nuts.
there would be
We'd have a lot more nuts in this
or
place.
tomatoes.
You could
Or
you'd have
tomatoes.
a lot more nuts.
These nuts. A lot more of these nuts.
Well, that concludes the podcast.
So, if you're wondering why my voice is so raspy, I don't know what's going on, but I definitely don't have a cold. for like 3 weeks. No, actually about a month. I've had like a soreness. Like it almost felt like my lymph nodes or like my tonsils were swollen.
You were in a mask at work?
Yeah.
That's probably why.
Well, this was even before I started my job. I felt like a dull.
It doesn't matter. It works retroactively.
And then now it's getting worse. And so it's like I got like a lump there. So it's just
Swollen
weird.
lymph nodes.
Yeah.
Where at is the lump?
It's like right in there. It's swollen.
Right.
You just.
Okay, we got it.
So I'm hoping I don't have like infected like tonsils and have to get it,
Yeah.
tonsils removed. That's the last thing I need right now because.
So if that doesn't happen when you're a kid, that can happen to you later on?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
When I was a kid, I had my appendix removed. My appendix actually burst and I almost died. I was a little boy and I was like super sick and I was throwing up and I had severe stomach pain. Like, dude, the worst pain even to this day I've ever felt in my life. Sharp, razor sharp pain, and then vomit, like yellow vomit, which was poison. So I went to the hospital and they did their thing. I go to the restroom and they bust open the doors and they threw me on a stretcher. And I remember them taking
with
me
my pants down.
Yeah, they took me to the hospital, and it turns out that my appendix erupted, and they said I could have died from that because the poisons from your appendix. But I don't know if the appendix really. I mean, it's obviously not a necessary thing because I'm still living without an appendix.
Well, I mean, it's the part of the book I never read.
God made you that way. He created our own bodies to kill us.
They need some lack.
Yeah, he thought that through. So anyways, what have you guys been reading lately or seeing in the news? Let's talk about that stuff. I usually don't talk politics, but let's just do it. That gives us some subject matter.
I did just notice that Trump, that the news media seems to be spinning Trump endorsing Kyle Rittenhouse, of all people.
Yeah, and for those of you who don't know who he is, why don't you give some context on this gentleman?
Well, I would say he's currently a dividing line in America. He is a 17-year-old that traveled to Wisconsin from, I believe, I don't know where, but I think he traveled about 30 miles.
Illinois.
Kenosha, Wisconsin, I think it was.
He came from...
He came
from
to Kenosha.
Illinois, and got dropped off by his mom. Good.
Yeah. So anyway, he borrowed a AR-15, I believe, and he was cleaning some graffiti off of the wall, and they got surrounded by rioters, and they started chasing him, and he ran for approximately like a mile, and then they swamped him, got caught up with him. Some dude started literally hitting him with a skateboard. Keep in mind, this kid, 17 years old, but he's carrying a
rifle.
Semi-automatic rifle. So he just opened fire and shot 3 of them. And
I saw that video.
2 died. I think one's still alive. Maybe, or they all 3 died.
All 3 of them did?
All 3. But the interesting thing is all 3 have criminal records, and one was like a convicted sex offender.
I think one of them was carrying a pistol, too.
Yeah, and one was carrying a pistol.
So the way I'd heard it was he was being attacked by somebody. They got him on the floor. They were beating him. Mm-hmm. He had ended up defending himself because before he ever fired a shot, they had knocked him off his feet. He ended up defending himself with it, shooting one of them, got up and ran again, and then everything took place. But then I think while he was on the ground, he ended up shooting 2 people. Mm-hmm. All in self-defense.
Yeah, I saw it. He shot the dude that was... I mean, they were all attacking him, swarming him. But, I mean, my opinion on it is... For one, as a parent, I wouldn't drop my 17-year-old off in a riot a zone, where they're rioting.
A riot type environment. So
I'm going to play both sides, all right? I'm going to start with that, the beginning. He probably shouldn't have been there in the first place. If the parent is being a good parent, it's like, this is not a safe area. There's rioting, violence. I don't want to bring my kid there, much less arm them with an assault rifle, even though he was legitimately attacked. Now here, let's go to the other side. Who in their right mind, okay, I don't care if this person's an evil criminal, terrorist, who approaches somebody and swarms them when they have an AR-15 assault rifle and starts attacking them and kicking them on the ground. I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah,
that's not. It's not common sense.
It's irrational.
It's completely irrational.
Completely twisted.
So I'm not trying to take sides, but I'm looking at every angle, and I'm like, yeah, he shouldn't have been there. His mom should have not allowed her son to do that. These people should not have ran after a person that was armed with an assault rifle.
And that's what you're talking about.
I wouldn't do
it.
it.
The logic of it is like, he's 17 and he might be a pretty smart kid, but that was stupid. He's 17. He doesn't legally have the right to even have a firearm. So he ended up with there, and in the situation he's in, he was able to defend himself, thank God, but he should not have been there in that area.
And shouldn't have had a gun because he was underage.
It's just...
Yeah.
No, it's like both people on both sides are being illogical.
Yeah. There's two wrongs in this situation. Like, what's your view on it, Justin?
I mean, if you go back far enough, you could say, shouldn't anybody have the right to be in their own city that they pay taxes for? But she was technically not in his own city, but he was in a city. The people are
trying to help other people whose freedoms were being encroached.
Yeah. You're going to have people like that. And I guess the whole thing's just a cluster, but...
Well, they charged him with first-degree murder, and we know that's not going to stick, so I wonder what their next game is.
That won't stick.
He's going to be the spokesman for the NRA pretty soon, though. He turns 18, I'm sure, soon.
Who was the kid that had the mega hat knocked off of him that ended up suing for like millions or something?
Oh, my God.
Oh, that was...
what's his name, dude?
$80 million he settled with them for.
Oh, dear God.
Maybe they'll be on a sitcom with $10
$80 million?
That's what he ended up getting once
Lord.
they final said and done. I can't remember the guy's name, but...
And therefore, that's why I've been wearing a mega hat around, hoping it gets knocked off by news media.
Well,
oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they did bring... Okay, he has $80 million, but for the most part, his reputation...
It's been so
It's been... Yeah. So if he goes out in public, people recognize him. They're going to assault him.
Nick Sandman.
Nick Sandman. And you look at it 10, 15 years
he's a hero halfway to half the Americans. He's...
Yeah.
But I would like to say this, too.
God,
if you look at
$80 million, dude. Wow.
What's happened most recently, I guess, and I didn't read too much of it, but there's a Trump supporter, at least that's what he's been branded as, who was at a riot in one of these places, and he was shot and killed. So it's like, I feel like it's progressing. This
right.
Kyle Rittenhouse, he defends himself, he kills a couple people. They turn around and be like, oh, yeah, we're going to get us one for ourselves.
So it's a 3-1 right now. 3-1.
But, yeah,
pretty much,
it's all basically bad. I don't see it getting any better unless something changes drastically.
No, well, I mean, you've got one side rioting, the other side isn't really doing any rioting, but what if the other side decides to start getting violent? Or what if a lot of people decide to go start protecting businesses or whatnot?
Right.
Because that's all it would take to start the
That's
ball
something
rolling.
that could spiral out of control real quick.
Well, things are already getting out of control. I mean, this on every side, it's gotten out of control. Like, we're getting to the point where it's like something's got to happen. And I understand, like, the president can only do so much because the governors and, like, the mayors and stuff, they have the say in their area. But I don't know what the like the power of the president when it comes to a certain point. I guess the president could declare martial law or
for sedition, and if the governors and mayors
state of
or
an
state and
emergency.
city officials refuse to tamp that stuff down, and other innocent people's rights get violated, their damaged, property damaged, or their lives are in jeopardy, the president has the constitutional right to usurp their authority and do all that.
Yeah.
But some people would probably contest that.
Do you think?
And whoever wants to really see that,
Yeah.
it would be bad precedents to be
Precedent,
set.
yeah. So, Kyle, what the heck do you got?
No, nothing much. Okay.
Oh man, let me get one, dude.
What? That we can't smoke in here. That crap away. Get it out of here.
Seriously, you do?
And you got Winston. I mean, what the heck is?
Hey man,
Winston?
I think
I've
you're
never even heard
you're
of
being
Winston.
a little judgmental, and I think you need to be a little more
Get those
inclusive
cancer
right now.
sticks out of here.
Inclusivity. Don't forget
It
that.
returns back to you. It's like a sign from God that you're supposed to. I guess God wants me to smoke now.
Okay.
So if you haven't read the book or listened to the audiobook 1984, you wouldn't get this reference. But Ingsoc
Mm-hmm.
Ink sock.
INGSOC. Ink sock.
Oh, ing. I thought you said ink sock.
Ink sock.
I've had ink on my socks before. Wow. So, are you smoking now, Justin?
Winston
or
from 1984. Only on your show.
is that why you have such a perfect, deep radio voice?
That's right. I actually used to have a voice identical to Mike Tyson, and then years of smoking caused it to gravitate into this.
That's funny.
That's funny.
Dude, I
sing
better
One
watch
Night in
out.
Bangkok.
He'll freaking beat the crap out of me.
You're going to have Mike Tyson outside your front door, man.
Oh, dude, man, that guy.
You making fun of me?
He sounds just like him. That's funny.
You think you could take one of these?
Listen,
Dude.
Mike.
Dude,
I don't.
okay, speaking of Mike Tyson, the rumors are going around, and I don't know much other than, get the,
Sorry.
Oh,
you're going to buy me a new.
is he going to make a comeback?
Dude, he's training. He's been releasing these videos of himself training, and I thought he was going to do a rematch with Evander Holyfield. You know, the guy he
Get the other
bit his
ear?
ear off.
Is that guy in
And,
boxing?
yeah, it's like, well, I missed one ear. Huh?
Is that guy Evander? Is he even in boxing shape?
I don't know.
Well, okay,
Still alive?
so when you watch his training video, you're like, I'd be very concerned for him if he went up against. Oh, wow, that's perfect show business.
We'd like to
stuff.
conclude this podcast with
You're the guy in like an important meeting that the phone goes off.
he just
and,
leaves the podcast and well, I guess
hello?
it's us now.
Well, yeah, Grandma, I told you not to call me. So I'm talking about Mike Tyson. Let's get back to that.
Holyfield.
He's training, and
So when you watch Mike Tyson's video, dude, he is tearing it up, man. That guy is a beast. And how old is Mike Tyson?
I think he's in his mid-50s, ain't he? If not 60s.
Let's find out.
Well, you're supposed to be the fact checker now that you're in Charlie's.
Charlie Sparkles. What?
But it's a great sound effect. So yeah, Mike Tyson, dude, he's a beast. I would love to see him fight Floyd Mayweather. I'm not a fan of Floyd Mayweather. I mean, he is a champion, but that
Floyd
dude's so
Mayweather
cocky.
is fast.
54 years.
He's 54 years old. Dude, he is a
So
monster.
see, you've
dude.
got a fact checker. It's all up here, man.
You got to confirm. You can't just go
Okay,
off your
well,
mind.
I'm a Democrat. I can say
Oh,
whatever I
whatever, you're a
want, and
Democrat.
it's truth. Okay?
Whatever.
Are you a racist?
Are you a racist crat?
I'm just
Hey,
asking.
a
I'm just
racist
making
crat.
sure you're not being all white privileged on
white
me,
privileged?
'cause,
Oh my God,
I'm
You know,
Caucasian
half.
privileged.
privileged. If you're half, you're half privileged.
Well, what about when you got red hair, though? I mean, you sort of lose
You're
white
like the-
privilege.
I don't
So
know.
what is it? What's
No,
the
you got-
taboo around redheads now?
I don't know. Usually redheads are
Soulless?
Well, no, they say they
Yeah,
have a
soulless
temper.
ginger,
South
right?
Park.
It makes sense why redheads would have a temper, aside from Irish DNA, is that you grow up being the odd man out, so
Yeah.
you kind of get picked on, so you probably develop anger from it.
Me personally,
true.
I've looked at redhead
could be.
people from a young age, and I've never been like, "That's weird. They've got red hair."
Yeah.
So, I don't know
Well,
where it comes
red-haired
from.
women for a long time period in American history were like highly regarded and the cream of the crop.
Red is
Cream
better
of
than
the
blonde.
Back
Shoot,
when
let
I
me
was
tell you.
when I was a little dude, I remember in church, old church ladies would come up to me all the time and compliment me on my red hair.
Really?
Where'd you get your red hair from?
Where'd you get that red hair?
Hey, too much spaghetti sauce. That went down several times.
They literally said that. Too much spaghetti.
Yeah.
Oh my God, dude.
He's Italian, you know.
So amazing.
He's a good boy.
Oh, that's funny, dude.
Cheers, cheers to Red-headed black
Red-
boxers.
and yeah, cheers. To
Cheers.
Did you already drink your drink?
No, I've got it over
Oh.
here. I've just got it out of the way so that you don't get sued for trademark infringement.
Oh, okay.
You know, it's good with the Coke.
Oh my God.
This guy
You know what
is
good's with-
set on burning your
Oh,
palace
dude,
down
what-
here.
Well,
So,
I can't smoke.
yeah. You hit the camera,
Man,
Justin.
you know the
crazy
funny thing
man.
is, I remember being like preteen before I was a teenager for real, and we lived in this apartment complex, and we were all at the pool, and there would be this older guy there. He wasn't too old, but middle aged. He had a
creepy
kid
fast,
and he'd be smoking a cigarette, and we'd always destroy his cigarettes. Like we'd get a thing of water and pour it on a cigarette, and then I ended up starting smoking when I was 14 and smoked for over a decade. So I just thought that was funny.
My first smoking experience was when I was younger. My cousin would steal his mom's cigarettes, and we would go off into the woods, way down in the woods. And one time he lit it up, and he's like, "Hey man, try it. You want to give it a try?" I'm like, "No, I'm good." So I ended up taking one puff of that cigarette, dude. I was like, never again in my entire life.
From beneath a tree. And
oh my God, gotcha. I never did it again.
I didn't have a thought of smoking a cigarette until I hung out with the wrong people. Like it's never.
Well, everything always starts off with the wrong people, which leads you down a bad path. What about you, Justin? What was your first cigarette experience? I think everybody's had one.
Well, my cousin stole them from his mom's purse.
Are you serious? That's exactly.
I kid you not. You know what brand it was?
Winston.
1984, right here. It's one of these. So my cousin.
Winston smokes cigarettes.
He takes it from his mom. Yeah, he'd steal them from his mom's purse periodically. And I remember, we were at my grandmother's house, right? And he was kind of jogging at the time, so we're sort of walking down to the. So we're sort of walking down to the bridge, and we're going to sneak underneath the bridge. So we sneak underneath the bridge, and we both have a cigarette or whatever. And then and the funny thing is, we were supposed to be back at my grandma's house.
Holy crap.
Go
ahead. Ouch. Go ahead.
Take these away from you.
The antics.
Anyway, we were late for pictures because the sun had gone down. And our grandmother was angry, not because we had smoked, but because we were too late for her picture. That was the first angry selfie woman girl thing that ever happened.
I don't care about you guys smoking, but you're late for the photo.
Maybe your smeller wasn't doing too good.
Yeah,
mine does. I'm like the only person that can smell weed like 2 blocks away.
Yeah,
no one else is smelling it. Yeah, like I've gone up to police officers before just to show them off. Show off to them that I'm like, you guys smell that, right? No, what? Weed. I can smell weed here, and you can't, and you're the law.
Nowadays, though, how do you know?
Then I got out a joint and smoked it right in front of him.
Have you ever seen that CBD? Have you ever done any CBD stuff?
Nah.
So they have CBD leaf, right? And they sell it like at BP, closest gas station to me that sells it, or they sell it in the vape shops, like for CBD stuff.
You know what BP stands for?
Bipartisan.
Yeah. Actually, no. British Petroleum.
Nice.
Yeah, it's British.
But they have a CBD flower, and it's marijuana. It's basically weed without THC. Smells the same, burns the same, rolls the same, everything, just no THC. So nowadays, you really couldn't tell.
I had the same cousin actually had a little
that dang cousin.
This little I don't know what you call it. It's like a little cartridge of pot that you smoked it. I think it was a one-off or something like that. And he kind of talked me into it, because it was like at his bachelor party. And then I tried it, and I guess I did it wrong. God's grace.
Yeah,
but
I
never really did that.
Funny
stuff.
story about marijuana. Okay, my new job. A lot of stuff is.
They encourage me to smoke it on my new job.
Yeah. Well, I go into this job, and there's a lady there. I won't give very much details because just in case, like, a manager is watching the show, is like, who is this? There's a person I'm working with, and I'm sitting there doing my thing. They got the conveyor belt spitting out the tubes. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, I got a job working for a company called I can't say the company's name, but they're responsible for boxing up and making the COVID testing kits. So the conveyor belt's running, it's spitting out the tubes. They're coming out. You got to sort them fast because it starts piling up like crazy, and you're like overwhelmed. Then you go and inspect them, look at them, throw them in the bin, like the bin next to you, and then those people just pack. Well, the lady that was next to me doing that, I look up and I see her like this. Like trying to put the tube in the box, and they were falling asleep. And I'm thinking, like, is there something? Do I need to help this person? And it turns out that they're they do drugs. And
Don't they have a drug test?
huh? Well, yeah, they do actually.
I guess we'd start afterwards. Right.
So we come into work the next day, and I smell a skunk, like hardcore. And it wasn't Pepe Le Pew. Like, the skunk did not squirt me. Okay. But it was that marijuana smell.
Mm-hmm.
And it was on that person. And it was really strong. And we had just checked in to work, And I was like,
That's
dude.
smart.
Yeah, like, let's show up to school. Let's show up to
really
work.
good stuff.
Yeah, let's show up
right
to
before
work
you go into work.
high on marijuana and packaged COVID test kits. So,
Well, I just don't think it'd be
wrong?
very smart to smoke the really good stuff. It's it's going to be the indica, the good
So
stuff
that's
that's
how
going
they
to
get
make
the
you
false
fall asleep
positives.
while you're standing up. But
pretty much. Yeah, so, but we do
So-
wear gloves and stuff, and like that mask and the safety glasses and a hairnet. So,
I'd be worried
It's
about
pretty-
getting a COVID test out of that place now.
yeah.
False positives.
I might have to edit that
employees
part
on
out.
marijuana.
Go ahead, false positives.
Speaking of COVID, I did see on several Facebook posts, people had posted that the CDC revised the death analysis for COVID patients, and instead of what they did is they identified these are all the people that died of only COVID, and it was something like 6,000 people instead of 100 and something thousand.
Oh, really? That is a big freaking difference.
Yeah.
If you know statistics, it really is a huge deal because the perception has been that COVID is a killer, but the reality is that, well, it's only a...
Well, they're counting
Assisting
anything and
killing.
everything, walking and dying as COVID. Like, okay, if you died and you had COVID, they were counting that COVID case. It doesn't matter if you died of a heart attack or a motorcycle accident. They were counting all of that as COVID death. And the last number I'd seen that came across my phone was like 170-something thousand.
Mm-hmm.
So you're saying that they took that number down and minted it to 6,000?
Well, I would put it this way. If we were a healthy society, we'd probably have less than 10,000 COVID deaths.
I knew it was a lie all along. I don't even care what anybody thinks anymore. I was saying it from the beginning.
Here's to face panties.
Here's to being right.
Oh, he's talking about mask. I'm like, what?
No, I actually mean it.
What did you just say?
Here's to being right. That's all I'm
Here's
saying.
to being right. Well, yeah, I got to be careful what I'm saying because
How
I
many
actually work for a company that pays me.
How many black spots are going to
To,
be in this hour?
Yeah. So, anyways, Mike Tyson.
Welcome to the podcast. And that's all the time we have today. We had to edit the rest out.
We had to edit the entire show out. I don't know. I mean,
I probably
don't really
just
care
did say
anymore.
something really inflammatory, huh?
No,
People have had their channel shut down for
we
stuff
are
like that. My bad,
entitled.
dude. My bad.
I thought there was such a thing as the First Amendment,
Not anymore.
freedom
sock.
of speech. It's only if you have the same opinion as other people, then it's, you can freely speak as long as you agree with,
And that is the shame of it. Like, we coming onto a podcast where this is just fun, right?
like I actually have to be afraid
yeah.
that I say something and it could ruin my entire life
Yeah. And, like, you started this podcast.
because I don't agree.
You started this podcast as a hobby, right?
Yeah, a
And
hobby.
you
have
want to
fun.
be paid doing it someday
Eventually,
because
one
that's
day.
possible with YouTube. But even just doing it as a hobby, you have to worry about coming on here and saying certain things because you can get your channel shut down. Your life could be ruined. You could have people outside your house. It's crazy. Like,
Well,
Yeah.
I don't think anyone cares enough about us to ruin our lives, but
Hey, watch me end
They
up
could
on the
yank your
news
channel.
tomorrow. Like a news crew outside
Well,
my door. Like,
somebody-
I can't believe you said
somebody
COVID
does
was a
care
fake.
enough. I mean, people show up outside of people's houses
Well,
nowadays
if we just-
screaming Black Lives Matter and stuff.
yeah. What if we take anything at all that we
Sandwich
want to
sounds
say, and we just sandwich it between two Trump insults?
Yeah, what if we do that? Then you can't do anything to us because if we insult Trump,
As long as we berate Trump, they might miss everything else. That's all they have a radar for is Trump.
I'm telling you
bad,
what,
Orange man
these people only see red.
Yeah, it could be, for example, like, Trump is a total xenophobe, death to the IRS. Trump is a terrible person, orange man bad. You
Orange
see,
man.
people only got Trump out of that.
Well, and they're calling him an orange man, which is pretty.
He's got a great tan.
However, it
jealous.
is cracks
He really
me
is
up
pretty
though.
orange.
Every once in a while, Trump gets on,
Okay.
like, and he looks completely different. Like, it's like clearly the dude just
Lighting
did
man bad.
a tan,
Spray
and he's
on,
got
yeah.
like the white around his eye because he wore the goggles.
So he wore the goggles.
Can you imagine him? Like,
Was he butt naked in the tent or in the while getting sprayed?
he's got a tanning bed in his room in the White House, and he just, can you imagine him like in a Speedo, just like,
With a cheeseburger.
and he puts his little goggles on, like, Melania,
Melania, paint me. Paint me orange.
spray me. Don't get me right
Yeah.
there, okay?
Trump is comical. But you know, the funny thing is, and I was telling you guys earlier, and I'm pretty sure I said this to you before too, it's like when we were down there at that birthday party and I'd asked those two big guys if they had gotten in trouble for wearing their Trump 2020 hats. And then our friend turned to me and said, would you approach them? And I said, these people are irrational. Since that day, look at all the irrational stuff that's happened, like that kid having to shoot 3 people to not get killed.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, I think they call it the, what's the kid's name? Rittenhouse, thank you. The Rittenhouse Challenge.
the Rittenhouse
Like,
challenge.
Run a mile, successfully shoot 3 people chasing you, or something like that.
Wow.
How many
That's a little
17-year-olds
messed
though
up.
could probably do that? That's crazy.
Not a
if you
lot.
think about it.
Well, there's definitely, you go down to Texas or
Yeah.
like down south, you get
But
a
I mean,
lot
that's
of-
under pressure. How many of those people have been, if you haven't served in the military and seen war, how many
Oh,
people have been under
yeah.
pressure like that?
Kid probably played a lot of Call of Duty.
Call of Duty.
That might have done it. He
Yeah.
might be the spokesman for the NRA pretty soon. Gets past all this legal trouble.
I'm Kyle Rittenhouse, and I endorse the new AR-18.
The AR-18. It's got a triple barrel.
Rotating.
It rotates like a helicopter. We are very sad by the, people have lost their lives.
I'm
We're
not
kind of
sad
laughing
about it.
about
I don't
like.
think anyone's
No,
sad
I'm
for
sad that I'm sad about anybody that loses their life, even though they did something that I think is foolish.
Where
You
they
know,
forfeited their
I'm
life.
sad that they died as a result, but they did make the decision to do that. So, and I'm sad for Kyle who has to go through all this. So everything about it's just sad. So, but I love how we talk about a little bit about something and we talk about completely something else. And then we start talking about
it always goes back.
how do I edit this? I can't do highlights out of this. I'm starting to do,
Let's just make some fart noises for a while.
Yeah.
We can use those for highlights.
back into the podcast. And, here's a really good one.
This is what happens when you get
That's
a
the
group,
cream of the crap.
a group of men children.
Yeah. Hey, you can't ever just grow up. It's
Or what I call millennials.
millennials. Wait, you're not a millennial.
And
You're
I'm a Gen A.
you're an old man, old bag of
I'm a-
bones.
Okay, boomer.
Malaxial.
Yeah.
Okay, boomer.
Well, you're the youngest here,
You look
right?
old enough to be a boomer, though.
You're a
It's the
boomer.
hat.
You got a little.
It's from the 20s.
It's the hat.
Boomer. I like the hat. It reminds me of the guy from the what do you call him? The hot fries.
Yeah, handicap.
Yeah,
You guys might fit
With
fit
enough
into
likes,
generational categories,
I'll turn it
but
backwards.
I'm timeless.
yeah.
What can I say?
Are you in
Timeless.
your 30s?
I'm timeless.
I am too.
Ageless.
If I'd have to guess, you're probably 28, 27.
I'm like a
or
fine
28.
wine. The older I get, the better I
Do
age.
stuff.
Holy smokes. We might actually have this podcast done at a reasonable time. Last show we did
I
an
think the
hour and
fans are
30
demanding
minutes.
more.
No.
Yeah.
Heck no.
Well,
2
if you look
hours.
at how many views
I'm
you
tired of
have
it.
and how long you went on that, I mean, people are enjoying it.
Takes me like a month to do one podcast, although I really get it done. in
Oh,
the
yeah,
space of
let's
2
talk
weeks.
about that actually. So we've had you on before and you talked about your your YouTube channel, your podcast, Justin Ocean. He does the Christian EDM worship music, and it's grown even since the last time we had him on.
But not
He
without
hit-
controversy.
Yeah. Oh, we'll talk about that. So he had a milestone. If he hits 4,000 subscribers which he was only like, what, 3 or 4 away. Then he would drink a whole bottle of mouthwash. And, well, he did that, but it was
this big,
a little tiny one, and it had no alcohol in it.
Mouthwash. Kind of a
Because
I remember
when he agreed,
I felt cheated when I watched that.
well,
and that was the
he
point.
would. Here's the
was to
thing.
cheat you on that.
Here's the thing. He would have totally did the whole mouthwash if we didn't, because I got a lot of warnings. People called me and they said, dude, I hope you know he could actually die from doing that. And I'm like, I never really thought about that. And so I'm like, well, we did tell them that he would do that. And so how do we honor our word? And then we did that whole thing. But anyways, long story short, he hit his 4,000 subscribers, and then he put out another show, and now he's doing a show the first Friday of every month, correct? And dude, it's like it's exploding. So you were on for like no, you're at 4,456 subscribers as of right before this podcast, right?
Something like that.
It's insane. And so he just keeps growing and growing and growing. So when you hit your 5,000 mark.
Yeah, we'll have a party. How about that?
Have a party?
A little, dog biscuits.
You'll eat dog biscuits?
It just popped in my head. I don't know why I said it.
Dog biscuits.
I'm gonna hold you to that.
Hey, you know what? Actually,
a whole box of them.
We should have like a little party, and I could DJ at it.
That would be fun.
I'm doing. So I got the speakers too.
Let's do it, man. That'd be fun. And this guy just recently got turned on to Justin Ocean and
music.
His music.
I had a revelation as soon as I heard the music. That's all I can say.
Yeah, he listened to the music and he loved it. So you guys got to check out his stuff. It's just getting real good. Good.
The art of the controversy.
So let's talk about the recent controversy behind your channel.
Yeah, I want to hear this.
It's interesting. Okay, so periodically, well, let me start with this first of all. What I do is this kind of got birthed out of growing up in the whole house music and the trance music scene. And a lot of this stuff just doesn't even have words at all. So I would hear the music, and to me, I could like kind of feel the Spirit of God. Like it would open me up, and it would definitely eliminate depression. And I remember thinking like, man, this makes great worship music. Why don't people do that? Right. And so I started getting more and more into finding good music. And, one place I got to mention that I went for that was the Armin van Buuren podcast, because there's a lot of great European artists that have the vocals that sing to someone, but it's like they're singing to God. They're kind of putting a person on that pedestal. So I'm like, well, what if I just DJ'd a lot of this music together and you call it like mixed for worship or something? Because to me, like this stuff is more worship than what I go to in here on Sunday mornings. At least for me. Now, it's not for everybody, and I get that. Yeah. And I'll tell you, the channel is about 82% men, 18% women. But if you go to the average Sunday service, you will find that probably about 80% of the people standing with their arms up are women. So there's just something that resonates better with guys. Anyway, I went to this Christian conference, put in some DJ Christopher Lawrence, and it clicked. I saw the visuals of the worship, but then I heard, the good stuff in my ears, and it was just... it clicked. So that's the podcast was kind of came out of all of that. Now, the controversy
what's the controversy?
I will periodically get commenters that are somehow extremely angry that I'm not using Christian music but calling it Christian EDM.
Yeah.
What I really use Christian EDM as a moniker because that's where the search comes from, but what I refer to it is as EDM worship because you're worshiping God with EDM. But man, I mean, they're like on fire. It's like one guy literally called me like in league with Satan and a deceiver, like an angel. He was deceived as an angel.
Yeah, you deceived us. I saw that comment.
It was fun.
Why did people? And so, okay, that's why when I started this podcast, I have several people in because I'm a Christian. I believe in Jesus and I follow God and
Jesus of Nazareth.
I'm not like. I'm not critical.
Not Jesus Gonzalez.
Okay. I'm not critical and judgmental of people, but I came up from I was brought up with a Christian upbringing, and so people assumed that I was going to have a Christian podcast, that it was just going to be talking about Bible stuff. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm absolutely not against that at all. Not at all. But I didn't feel led like I wanted to go down that path. And one of the reasons why is I didn't feel comfortable being boxed into that, that I felt like I would be stuck. And then, Christians can be critical, like super critical. And that's the exact reason why, like what you're going through right now is them critiquing you.
I've been that way,
and that's okay to admit that. Like that's good. And hopefully you have that you can understand that, being critical of people and, what they're doing is not the best thing to do, but nonetheless, it happens in Christianity. And I didn't want to deal with that. Like people being like, well, that's not what the Bible says. And that's not actually, you're deceiving people. And people are just so.
If it's not Hillsong, it isn't Christ.
And then there's people saying that, Hillsong's evil. And I don't want nothing to do with that stuff, I mean, there are going to be a lot of critics even outside of doing a Christian podcast, because I already get that. I've had negative comments and whatever, but I've talked about it before in other podcasts. I've just accepted that you can't make everybody happy. You won't. Nobody can. There's not a YouTuber or a celebrity or anybody that has everybody that likes them.
Unless you just play video games.
Well, even they have thumbs down and negative comments.
Yeah.
So PewDiePie. Anyways, critical people, man.
If you criticize PewDiePie, then you're probably got a problem with criticism. But
so what you were saying about the EDM and the criticism that you get.
Yeah.
Like, I guess I can understand from their perspective, which is a limited one, right? You can't put God in a box. So that music, a lot of the times, for the most part, is made and it has influences behind it. But if you take that music and you felt led by God to take that music and then you channel it or let God channel through you through the music for a whole nother meaning, like there's nothing wrong with just electronic dance music. It's stuff you make with a computer.
What I do is draw a pentagram on the floor and put black candles on it.
Crazy, dude.
I'm kidding. They would think
crazy.
Hillary.
I mean, there's screening that goes on. It's not like I just pick anything that I want. I get to play it. Believe me, if I could pick any tune that I wanted to, the music itself in the podcast would probably be twice as good, because there's some great stuff out there that I don't play because it doesn't feel right, and there's a spiritual check in it from me, and so I have to have a barometer. Because
a lot of that stuff does have a spiritual influence behind it, like a dark one.
It does. Yeah. You're right. And
Satan was the leader of worship in heaven.
He knows his worship. He knows how to do music. But I go through thousands of songs, and some of them work, and many of them don't. It's like that. But there's also something the Lord showed me was in Acts, was a chapter, I think it was Acts 10:35, where the blanket fall. Peter is on the prayer, meditating in Joppa, on the roof in Joppa in prayer, and the blanket falls down 3 times from God, and there's unclean animals in it, and God says, kill and eat.
I have never.
Yeah, and it's funny, too, because in at least one of the versions, it literally says Peter was in a trance. And that's what I play, is trance music.
Okay. And
there's a scripture in the Bible that the Lord brought to me too that says, "Don't call
anything
unclean what I call clean." And there's not a scripture that supports the next thing, but I just felt like He said, if I want to use a song that somebody I created came up with, I'll use it.
Yeah. You know what? You're the artist, and you feel like you're being led by God to do this, and there's nothing wrong with that. All the music you play is clean, like there's nothing foul or perverted in it. And I love listening to your stuff. I listen to it a couple times a week now, even older podcasts that you've done, because I'd turn it on in the car, and you can feel like that song Gravity. It's just so, it builds something about that EDM music, the trance music. You're like, you feel the emotion. Even more than the contemporary Christian music, which is powerful too. Don't get me wrong. I'm a worship leader, but it's just a different feeling. It's so, you get lost in it. Like you can put headphones on and play like the stuff that he has on his podcast, and you can close your eyes and dude, you're just like, you're lost in worship. And
yeah, I'll say I used to listen to some pretty bad music. I mean, really bad music, just totally satanic.
Nickelback.
It's
Not like head banging, devil worshippers, but just basically stuff that the devil put in the minds of other human beings. And there was a point where I was like,
"Oh, you mean Cardi B?"
Cardi B.
Similar.
WAP.
I don't think I would ever listen to anybody like Cardi
I don't want to
B.
say
Like, I'll say, look, like
Ben
artists
Shapiro,
today.
WAP.
I've listened to some pretty vile music, but they actually made music back then. The stuff that they make today is just like, I don't understand. But listening to that music in the past, there was a point in time where I came to God and I was like, I want to take this, the beat, the track, or whatever, and make something, you know what I mean, that glorifies God. But like you said, you felt spiritual checked. I was like, some things just have this influence that originated from. Right. And it's just like, you couldn't disassociate that from it if,
Some of it is just, some of it can just feel so dark that it's hard to really spin it to being worship. Sometimes something could be strong and aggressive, but it's got a place in like the warrior mentality. Mm-hmm. The prophetic conferences where they're all spinning the imaginary swords in the air. Well, they might not be imaginary; they're invisible, but you know what I mean.
Sword of the word.
There's that, but
sword of the Lord is the word of God. But
those tracks they're door openers, And I think when a person is a worship leader, that God gives you an anointing that opens the door to heaven. And so if you open a door with music and you've got that anointing that calls a worship leader, then that means that the worship's going to God.
Yeah.
At the end,
Absolutely.
at the end of the day, probably what matters most is who's being worshiped.
And as far as the controversy goes, with the criticizers, God said, let the tares grow up amongst the wheat. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, you just got to let it be. Yeah. I mean, let people throw their stones, and you just pick them back up and hit them upside the head.
When God said turn the other cheek, he meant in a roundhouse.
And do a roundhouse.
Absorb
spin around and hit them in the other cheek.
But like what you were saying, like with the whole criticism of not elevation worship, but Hillsong. Like I'd gotten into that myself. There's so much stuff going on the internet, and then people are talking about it, and it's just like it all seems real.
You can find something negative about everything. Anything out there, you can find something negative about it.
Actually, let me tell you the dirt on Sandy Patty I found out.
But after a point, like I believe God has let me walk through multiple different spiritual experiences to let me see what that's like deceit. I've walked through that a few times, unfortunately, but now it's like I'm aware that I can be deceived and not know it. So I want to constantly be checked.
Yeah.
And in that, I had said things about people who may actually be servants of the Lord, and it's kind of a heavy thing to feel like when you speak against a servant of the Lord, you know what I mean? That's judgment in itself on your own head. So people who are out there doing that, they should be careful.
Well, live your own convictions, like what you feel like God is, and live it and follow. Don't just point the finger. There's so many, and I used to be critical too and judgmental, and I walked away from it.
Thinking about everything everybody else
Try
does.
to fix, I mean, you're trying to fix other people.
But you got a plank in your eye.
But you're a human. You have flaws. I'm telling you right now, the people out there pulling people apart and judging them and like, you do this, you're doing that, this is unbiblical. I guarantee you, if their secret life was suddenly revealed before everyone's eyes, they would walk away in shame. And that happened a lot. Even the Pharisees, Jesus was exposed them, and so I don't want to judge people. I do have standards. I do believe, the things that God tells us, but I'm not going to go around and judge people and criticize them. I can have my convictions and what I feel that the Lord has told me, and I can live a certain way, but I'm not going to turn around because first of all, if you believe in God, then you should believe that God is more than capable of helping somebody, and he doesn't need you to change the hearts of man. He is very powerful.
Matter of fact, we can't.
We can't. We don't have the power and authority. My words and my wit, my, knowledge. I mean, it may help in certain situations. There's a time and a place, but ultimately, God is the one that opens the hearts and the eyes of men. And so I put my trust in God, And if someone wants to talk about God, I'll talk to them about God. But I don't appreciate people that judge and criticize and try to control other people and how they think. I mean, that there's too much of that going on. And it's not just religion, it's politics too. You know, you don't think the way I think. So I have people in my friends group that I completely flat out don't agree with them politically and other things, lifestyles, don't agree with them at all. However, I don't care who they are. I would hang out with them. I got friends of mine that I went to school with that kind of were more on the Satanist side. Like, you know, they were into that world. And I don't agree with it, and they know that. I mean, they knew how I was a Christian. But they're like some of my best friends ever. I hung out with them, and I didn't change, and they didn't change as a result of me. I didn't change. I didn't just become a Satanist.
But by God, we stood for the American flag when it came out.
But they're cool, and that's the way I want to see things in this world, is where people could still be friends and hang out and have complete disagreements. Now, I will say this, though. I mean, if you put negative people in your life, like people that are like utterly destroying their lives, like in very bad stuff, I mean, that's okay to distance yourself from people that are, you know, doing that. But you know, life, you know, like different political parties, different religions, different, you know, lifestyle views. I mean, that's okay. They're different. They believe different. And, you know, I believe God can turn the hearts of man. I believe God is more than capable of doing it. So that's my take on everything. But
I didn't go looking for God. He literally came and plucked me out of a dark hole.
And that's when you know it's legit, when God is doing it.
Yeah.
So we're right at the hour mark. We'll go ahead and end with that. That was a good ending point. We had this was a good solid one podcast. You actually let me talk this time.
Hey, you better chill out now.
I'm just kidding.
Be more assertive.
Okay, I was so tired last time, but anyways. But we're going to go ahead and end it. Thank you guys for tuning in. I absolutely love and adore all my fans, all the subscribers out there. You're amazing, whoever you are, whatever you believe and stand
all
for.
5 of you.
Even if we don't agree on everything, you guys are absolutely amazing, and I would sit down and hang out with you guys and, you know, go have a beer or
wash your feet.
drink coffee or
wash your feet. Follow the example, man. Got to wash the feet.
Maybe.
No, we probably won't do that. But so
hey, don't reject Jesus' example, bro. That's all I'm saying.
All right, here we go. All right. So, anyways, I'm working. I'm working on.
This has been brought to you by Kia Motors of America.
Oh my God, I'm not talking about cars right now. I'll save that.
Get into it, dude.
Dang it, dude!
Special episode.
I totally forgot to tell you guys.
I didn't know if you wanted to talk about it.
No.
I'm
not
bring it as a teaser for next.
No. I gotta say this very, very quickly. I can't believe I forgot this. Okay, at my work, last Friday? Yeah, last Friday. The governor of Kansas came to my work with the senator. I forgot what his name was. And they came to the work. We did an event and stuff. And
were they wearing masks?
So I was on the news.
Surely.
I was on the news.
Oh, were you?
Yeah, I was on the first line that they opened that up first and they did the tour. And the camera's like right on me and stuff. So I was like, how do I have my viral moment?
Did you?
So I dropped a
look?
tube and I let my butt crack hang out. No, just kidding.
Plumber's crack.
I definitely did that, but that was funny.
Nice.
But anyways, I'm going to end with that. Thank you guys. I'm working on a Subscribe Star. I was going to do Patreon, but I keep getting pushed towards Subscribe Star. So that way you guys can support the channel so I can get some new camera gear. I'm using a cell phone to record Benjamin over there. And I got a GoPro, which this stuff is not really made for this, but
the name's Wendy.
It works. It works for now. All right, Wendy, Sparkle, Sprinkles.
Hey, don't judge me.
So I need to get better stuff, but
Wendy Sprinkles.
I'm trying to end this thing, and you guys keep.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's how it was last time. I was trying to have a clean, smooth ending, and then you're like talking, and then we end up for another 30 minutes.
I'm out.
No, shut up. All right. So, anyways, let's end the show. Thank you guys for tuning in. Have a good one. We're out of here. Stay tuned for the next podcast. Please subscribe. Please share this. Please invite your friends. Let's get this channel to 100 so I can do the hot sauce challenge. Anyways, we're out of here. Take it easy.
Thanks for listening to the This Could Make Us Famous podcast. Want to help make someone famous? Have a story to share? Get in touch with us at facebook.com/This Could Make Us Famous. And be sure to subscribe to this podcast so you don't miss a single episode.